Despotism is a crime against humanity. Extremism, terrorism, religious fanaticism, massacres, corruption, oppression, sectarian intolerances are all different manifestations of this blemish on human civilization. Tyrants, monarchs, and dictators have already done so much unspeakable atrocities against mankind that they do not deserve any respect at all. The humanity and the world will be safe only when the last tyrant is eliminated. It's so exciting to see that finally the millions of our fellow human beings in the Middle East who have been enslaved by the monarchs and dictators for generations now realize that they have to break the silence and silence their oppressors. Contrary to what portrayed by the West, the people of the Middle East are pacific and very straightforward. They put up with centuries of dictatorship because they valued the peaceful social life, and they suppressed their thirst for freedom in order to avoid violence and bloodshed. At times, their suppressed emotions have found their outlets through some un-Islamic anti-social involvements like terrorism outside their countries. Terrorism is not jihad. It's the indirect product of despotism. So, if the global community and their leaders are genuinely committed to erase all forms of terrorism and political violence from the surface of this earth, they should help the millions of oppressed people to free themselves from the clutches of the autocratic dictators. It's the international community's complaisance that allow the tyrants thrive even in the 21st century. As Thomas Bailey Aldrich said, the possession of unlimited power will make a despot of almost any man. There is a possible Nero in the gentlest human creature that walks. Monarchy is undemocratic. Monarchy challenges human dignity. Monarchy is against the values of Islam. Monarchy is a disgrace. Monarchy is illegitimate. Monarchy is discrimination. It gives the impression that some people are born superior to others. Monarchy corrupts, and absolute monarchy corrupts absolutely. Rattled by the awakening of People's Revolution, Arab monarchies are panicking now. All these years, they have been robbing the Baitul Mal or the public treasury. They have been recklessly spending as if it were their ancestral property. They have even been promoting their own versions of extreme Islam and preaching that democracy is un-Islamic in order to keep them in power. They are supported by some corrupt clergy. Now they know that they cannot bribe their enslaved citizens anymore. The recent verdict from a kingdom reads like this: laws and regulations in the kingdom totally prohibit all kinds of demonstrations, marches, and sit-in protests, as well as calling for them, as they go against the principles of Sharia. There is no place for chaotic demonstrations in this country of monotheism because Sharia is the dominant force in this country. Do they mean Islam is against individual liberty and freedom of expression? In fact, it's Islam that first taught the world to fight against oppression, to fight for freedom. Freedom of speech is fundamental in Islam. That's what we have seen in the lives of our predecessors. Sahaba questioned the second piece of cloth on their leader's garment. These monarchs are not equal to a speck of dirt under the feet of the Khalifas. democratic ideal of a government by the people is is by all means compatible with the notion of an Islamic democracy. Don't try to fool the followers of Islam. And Muslims don't need their religious lessons from these greedy powermongers. Enough is enough. Free your people and free your souls from the pathetic end you are heading forth. If it's unbearable for you to leave your palaces and harems straight away, try some drastic reforms. As a transition, try constitutional monarchy. You need to respect the citizens of your country. They should have the ability to change their governments. How can the monarchs restrict civil liberties? How can the monarchs restrict freedom of press, speech, assembly, association, and human rights? The monarchs are bringing shame to the Muslim Ummah. So, stop corruption, exploitation, confrontation, injustice, bribery, and bloodbath. As someone said, no dictator, no invader can hold an imprisoned population by force of arms forever. There is no greater human power in the universe than the need for freedom. Against that power, governments and tyrants and armies cannot stand. Thanks.